CLion, a cross-platform IDE for C and C++. Download now.
Thank you, guys. That was a nice introduction. And welcome, everyone, to ACCU. I think that's a great conference. And I actually have to share that I originally joined just for looking at the conference in 2014. But it's my 10th official year with ACCU. When I'm there, I'm speaking or participating in the program committee or just visiting as a sponsor with JetBrains. So I'm going to celebrate this year. I don't know about you. I'm going to celebrate these 10 years. Yeah, thank you. And there is also one more amazing thing, actually, at ACCU in 2015, what we did here, we launched CLion. Here, 1.0 was launched 10 years ago. So we're 10 years of CLion on the market. Just in a couple of weeks in April, the team will be celebrating. If you want to learn more, come Gray Matters. They're our official resellers. I will be at their booth for a short while, sharing pins, stickers. If you're about that, come. I have a bunch. And literally, to me, I joined, that was the 2015. I actually failed to find any real picture of me at that year because I think I just removed everything from all the devices. But I found this one, the conference prospectus that was sent to us as sponsors. I'm 10 years with ACCU. It's my third keynote. And, there is no better way to celebrate than to make a talk. And that's what I'm going to do. And originally, when I was invited to ACCU 2025 as a keynote speaker, they asked me to talk about communities because they know how keen I am about that. So I love technical communities. I'm building them constantly. I can get out of this loop, absolutely. Even when I'm relocating, I'm also starting building another community. So if you're anytime around Amsterdam, we have a Dutch C++ meetup running there. Quite often it's hosted in JetBrains, but also in other companies. Next week, we have a meetup about Bazel. So just come for that, that's gonna be great. But that's not only it, we're also doing a conference in the Netherlands. And you can get the joke from the name. Thank you, Phil, for allowing us to use this name. It's C++ under the sea. And you probably know that 75%, I guess, of the Netherlands is under the sea level. So we are there with our C++. We had a fantastic first-time event last year, and I'm happy to be the head of the program committee. And we will be having another event this year, 2 days now. These fantastic people now allow me to pack more talks in the program. We will be starting the call for paper quite soon, so please follow the updates and please do submit. I will be happy to bring your talk to the stage in the Netherlands. I think it will be Breda again, which is a beautiful city. So good chance for you to visit, and you can follow the conference site. It's still for 2024, not updated, but once we have everything officially, it will be there. But well, I was asked to do a talk about the communities, but there is another thing in my head which is now constantly with me, and I can't escape it. So I asked the program committee if I could switch the topic. And so here we are, trying to completely blow your mind together with Daisy with all the AI thing this week. And you know what? So talking about the AI, the keynotes, especially the opening keynotes, that's not the talk where you usually learn something extremely new, right? So this is the talk to inspire you. And I really hope that this talk will inspire you for the whole week, and you will look at everything here during the conference with this prism of AI and its capabilities and where is it coming, because it's blazingly fast. And if you keep closing your eyes, I'm sorry, but you're losing the game. And that's quite obvious now. So it's all around. All the current generation of software developers, they grow up with AI. In our company, we recently celebrated 25 years of JetBrains, and we were counting actually that we have quite many colleagues who were born in the year 2000-something, which was a little bit of wow to me. And I was like, these people are quite grown-ups with their families already, and they're great developers, great engineers, and they never lived in the world without AI, actually. I mean, their professional life. They're all with AI. It's as much essential as the first computer or the internet or the first IDE. I couldn't imagine my world in software programming without a decent IDE, because when I started, we already had some. Like I started with Vim, but then quickly switched to other tools. And now you can't imagine your world without AI. So do not try to escape, but better learn how to use it wisely. And if we look at the generation of the software developers, as I said, we have quite a few colleagues born after a year 2000. And software is now made by these young people. In software, like developer ecosystem research we do in JetBrains, the two major groups of developers in our survey are now under 30. I'm starting feeling old at this point, to be honest. But they're amazing, and they have all the opportunities around them. I have two kids, 5 and 9, and they have all these like STEM classes, robots, Lego, microbit. They have like Scratch, Minecraft, Roblox. They start coding from the age of 5 already. When we take a look at the like Roblox user from the company, from the business perspective, I was like, I can't do business there. They're kids. So that's what they're about. So they are the developers. Even my 5-year-old son, he has this kind of, fancy toy. There is a mouse, and there is a path you have to program so that it gets the piece of cheese, like the plastic cheese. And you literally put the cards, like the steps of the algorithm, like turn right, turn left, go forward. They're doing that like amazingly fast. They are programming, come on. So you can't escape this world. And now this world comes to this evolution, or I would call it a revolution. This is the Google Trends for generative AI term. And prior to 2023, there were nothing. Literally, no notes about that, mostly like some researches and some papers, but generally the world was not AI. And now it is. And I'm pretty sure it will keep growing, so it's not the plateau. It's just like, a small break we were given to learn these things, and it will go up for sure. And I do hope that Daisy will support me on Thursday with more AI things, and you'll get all the inspiration from both of the talks. And I'm pretty sure she knows the stuff about language models better than I, so ask her. I will keep promoting your talk, Daisy, sorry. So yeah, but before we start, because it's the 1st of April, I'm gonna start with a few jokes. But I'm bad at jokes, so I asked AI to help me. And you know what? It's actually quite good at jokes, especially tech jokes. Like, why do C++ programmers prefer dark mode? Because light attracts bugs. I love that one. Why was the C++ developer sad? Because he didn't C# what was going on. Because I'm now with both .NET and a slightly C++ teams, I really appreciate that one. My favorite one, what's the object-oriented way to become wealthy? Inheritance. And the last one for today, why did the function break up with the object? Because they had too many dependencies. Well, so AI is good at jokes, at least at these techie, geeky C++ jokes. I specifically asked AI to generate some C++ techie jokes because I'm literally bad at them, but I like how they sound. Yeah. But it's not just about the jokes. It's about the whole development process. And let's see how the developer community now perceives AI and how they feel about it. And I'm going to use this Stack Overflow survey chats here, but I have to say it was done last year. And in the world of AI, it's already outdated. I mean, something that was done in the mid last year is already outdated. So I expect the charts be completely different now, more stronger feelings about the AI. But that time in 2024, and you later can follow all the links and find all the charts and explanations. So AI tools in the development process. So 63% of the professional developers claim that they use it, or they plan to start soon. So actually, from 2023 to 2024, the share grows from 70 to 76, which is amazingly fast. And I expect it's above 80 and even maybe 90 this year. Because as I said, that's more than 6 months, this survey, 6 months behind from now. So the things are changing really fast. At the same time, if you ask software developers about the AI tool sentiment, how they feel about it, it's like the favorable and very favorable. It actually dropped from 23 to 2024, from 77 to 72%. And I guess the decline in discoverability could be due to results of the actual usage. So that we are not just excited about it as we were in 2023, but we started using that. And for sure, the excitement goes down a little bit. When you get a new shiny toy, you're like, jumping around and yeah, I have it. I'm going to play with it. Then you play with it for a while. You learn how to use that. The excitement goes down, but some more important feelings started to grow, right? So the trust starts, like how you can use it. You learn the use cases. I guess that's what's happening. And most importantly, AI development workflows. So the blue bars are much more integrated. That's what the expectations of the developers are. And then the next bar is more integrated. So you can see that actually quite many people expect AI at different stages of the development being integrated. And especially I'm like amazed by this writing the code numbers. They are big. Quite recently, Unity, this is, this big company doing game engine, they released their survey collected, like it's called the 2025 Unity Gaming Report. It was collected in the beginning of the year. And Stephen Collin, the CTO, actually posted this post on LinkedIn that he was like amazed by these 96% of the developers who talked they are integrating AI into their game production workflow. And if you look deeper in the survey, you can find the obvious things, like for sure the game designers, they're using like AI a lot, all these creative roles, they're relying on AI now a lot because that's an amazing tool for them. But also, there are people who are writing and improving code with AI, and the shares, they actually grew significantly from 2023, which is this pink bar, to 2024, which is this blue bar. And I have to say that I was at a game development conference in San Francisco a week and a half ago. And the previous year, when we're talking to people about AI, they were mostly like, yeah, our creative roles, they're for sure using AI. The developers, they're like, yeah, we still have, these proprietary game engines. We're not sure about these models, if they really help. This year we came and they were like, oh, yeah, we're using like AI Assistant, Copilot. We use Cursor, we use Windsurf. And I was like, really? So in just a year, they switched completely. So there is no more question if I should use AI or not. There is mostly a question, what exactly should I use? Which model, how they compare? So all these practical questions in place. And yeah, the classical question, every survey actually asks the people if they feel AI tools is a threat to their job. And actually, no. But I guess to different reasons. So first, people were like not trusting AI really, not feeling confident about what AI delivers. Now they just see how you utilize it properly. They still don't see a big threat. Some people are worried for sure. There are lots of threats on Reddit, but surely they do not. And interesting enough, I asked AI about if AI going to steal my development job. That's a nice thing because not that I expect AI to be a thinking mind, but just because AI is a good summarization of what's happening in the community, how the people do discuss the things, what are the threats on different resources, what the media is talking about. So if I use that as a summarization, that's actually a perceived opinion on the matter from the World Wide Web. And yes, so it says that developers who adapt and learn how to use AI tools effectively will likely find themselves in high demand. We also did some kind of research in JetBrains trying to figure out how AI helps people in their development workflows. And the respondents of this research were about 500,000 people from mostly from US and Germany. 84% worked as professional developers or engineers, and 60% of them were doing more than 10 years in development, in like professional programming. So quite experienced people. And they report quite amazing numbers. So they say that 91% of them report time savings with AI, 71 report faster task completion with AI, 55 percentage report extra time for more enjoyable tasks. Isn't what we want to get, right? And 58 report reduced cognitive load, which I think is an important consequence of the summarization ability of the AI, and that kind of help. And that's just with the basic features they got with, like, for example, JetBrains AI Assistant would just assist them with some simple tasks, not going to the bigger things we're going to look today also as well. Another thing was from McKinsey, and they also did a big study on Gen AI and how the developers perceive it. And yeah, they actually brought some good numbers. So they said that documenting code functionality for maintainability can be completed in half time, writing new code in nearly half the time less with AI, and optimizing existing code in nearly 2/3 of the time. So the cuts are significant. And they say that the most important part of their findings was that developers using Gen AI-based tool perform complex tasks from 25 to 30% more likely than those without these tools in the given time frame. So it's not just about starting a new project or just learning some new language or technology from scratch. It's also about in-depth complex tasks where AI help and the people report that it's actually helping. And McKinsey wouldn't be McKinsey, but they also add these nice charts, which I feel important because I'm for 6 years already, I'm not just employee in JetBrains, I'm also a team lead. I have a team and I have to take care of my people, how they work, how they feel, what is their mental health. And McKinsey reports that with Gen AI, more people feel happy or satisfied, and they focus on satisfying and meaningful work instead of the routine one. And this flow state, they report it much more often. This flow state is actually a very important thing. That's when you execute the task with the most passion and you get the best results, you are the most productive. And with Gen AI, the people report that they get it more of that, and that's because of all this information at their fingertips given by the Gen AI. All right, let's try and be crazy enough and try some live demo with AI. What could possibly go wrong, right? So we'll have some things here. Some are pre-recorded, but we'll try a live demo, and we'll try to take a look at Windsurf. It's a very interesting tool. The authors of the Windsurf claim that it's built for the way AI is meant to work with humans. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to source this task to the Windsurf right now, and we'll see how good it's at executing that. So let's. So here we have the Windsurf. It'll be a little bit challenging how I'm going to do that with touch screens, but I don't need to type much. That's the benefit of AI, right? So I'm just going to copy paste that, and I will let it go, and we'll talk while it just goes. So Windsurf is this next generation of tooling, one of many I'll show, and I will talk more about the others. There is also Cursor, there is Juni created by JetBrains and other tools. And this is this new generation when the tool not just, it not just assists you, but it also, let's just run it. I will explain what it has there. So I don't think you need to read everything. So let me just try to explain what's happening there. So I have a task. I want to create a game which does something. I have some specification in mind. And I kind of know that I want to do that in C++ with Qt, because C++ is the passion, right? So I took the Windsurf, and I just sourced that task in English language to Windsurf. And it's trying to do the job, actually. You don't need to read it all together, but it's just generating a bunch of file and running some terminal commands, asking me if I still want to accept that. And some files are appearing here, and so it generates literally some code to me. So you can see that there is some progress generating. Not that much explanation of what exactly it's doing, but it generates the code. And that's how the Windsurf and many of the modern toolings are now structured. So they just bring you the solution and just keep sitting and reading, maybe learning, maybe doing other stuff. And this was one of the tools that was mentioned quite often by these game developers at GDC, for example, when they talked to me and said that there are very much Windsurf now. And this is what is called the Windsurf Cascade. This is the special mode in Windsurf, which just allows you to, talk to Windsurf in a human-readable language. It's just an editor. You can still use it as an editor. It's VS Code based. It has like these free trials with a bunch of free credits you can play with for quite a long while. A couple of evenings will be enough for you to generate all the world. But it also has like some subscriptions with more credits, and it's capable of running several models. Not sure if you see that, but there is a switcher here. So I'm on a paid plan, so I can select a few. I'm now running on Claude 3.7. But I can select like others. There is DeepSeek and ChatGPT, like GPT 4.0 and Claude 3.5 and others. So Gemini as well for sure. And there is also, no, I'm not gonna switch that. Yeah, so it's kind of generated some stuff for me. Let's see if we can build the game and run it, if it was successful or not. I might not know Qt or C++ at all while doing that, I'm kind of like was with C++ for 10 years, so I kind of know how to do the game in Qt with C++, but you don't have to. So you can just do these kind of things. Yes, let's run the command. Let's see if we're gonna successfully create the game. Yes, run it. There is the mode when you can auto-accept the things, but let's see if we're successful enough with running this game with the Windsurf. Accept. So, and you can actually see it has some issues. Hopefully it will be able to fix them and compile the project properly. It's talking to itself, right? So, I mean, it's just like, I'm generating the files, yeah, and I see some compilation issues. Probably something is like missing. I will be fixing that. I'm like, yeah, accept, fine, move forward. Just do the job. And you see that it's actually quite quick with doing that. Part of that success is actually the model below that, but we'll talk about that in a short while. So yeah, we kind of have the game. It's not really what I was expecting, but we can keep. Where is my ball? Yeah, so we can keep iterating here. So like I don't see the ball or the platform. Can you fix that for me? Oh, it's still like, yeah. Is it able to run it with? It's not finished yet. So you're generating something in Python. Where the Python started in this project? I missed that. Probably I shouldn't know that, and I shouldn't like ask questions and just accept. And we'll talk about that. This mode is actually like officially now called the vibe coding. I'll bring you the term if you stay with me for a while. More Python. Where is Python? I'm fine. Okay, pip3 installed. That's interesting. Yeah. So that's how you usually work. So you get the answers. So sometimes you get the project generation going fine. Sometimes you get all this thing down the rabbit hole. Yeah, let's see what it has inside. Oh, yeah, some code. I mean, and we'll also talk about it in a while, but people quite rarely do look in the code generated by these editors, especially in this mode. The vibe mode exactly is about that, so not actually looking at the things. So I'll let it go for a while, just generate stuff, do the things, and we'll be running the game. Updating, game CPP, whatever is happening there. Anyway, so I would say that I played with Windsurf during these couple of weekends, and I was able to generate lots of things. Sometimes it goes like not very successful down the road. Sometimes you just remove everything, start from scratch, and gets the things done quite quickly, and gets the actual game generated, or any kind of project. I generated things for like desktop thingy or some web-based stuff. Oh, now we have actually the platform. The space, yes, what is there? I can't press the space properly. But anyway, so we're moving forward with the game. Now we have the ball and the platform. I just need to fix the control, which I'm not gonna do now, not to take your time more on that. Let's be back to the slides. Where is my mouse? Yes, here we are. So yeah, we were just sourcing this input to Windsurf and trying to get the code done without very much looking into what it was actually doing and trying to get the result. And I even didn't, you notice that I didn't even like press the run icon in the editor. I asked Windsurf to compile and run the game. I'm like, I do not care how to build this project, even though it's CMake, I know how to do that, but I don't care. Just like generate the code, build it for me, and run it for me. If like that's something else like web game, run it in the browser or do it on the desktop. And when you work with these tools, actually important stuff is that there is important part of this job. And the important part is choosing the right LLM. And this is important. And there are many aspects of that. And I would like to dive into that for a while. So the people, if you, again, refer to the Stack Overflow survey, when they talk about the challenges working with AI, there are two things they are mentioning quite often: the level of trust and the amount of the context they could source to the AI tool. And these two reasons are dominating. So the trust to the output and the amount of the context sourced to the AI tool. If you open the Wikipedia page with large language models, there is a table with, right now, I checked yesterday, 67 models in the list. 67. 22, 1/3 of them are models with some open license, which you can like try and use with some trials or licenses or something, but at least like you can go for them. 6 were released in 2025. 20 in 2024. This is the speed, and it's going to increase. So we have lots of models, and we need to learn how they're different from each other, how to compare them, what is the right LLM for my job. And that's an interesting thing. So usually when the people do compare LLMs, they do refer to several parameters. The first one is the speed, so how quickly the responses are generated. But take it with a grain of salt. If you come to someone, ask a question, and this person immediately starts responding to you, that's not always the best response, right? So some people do step back, take a deep breath, think, and then give you the proper response. So do not judge on the LLM just by, the absolute number, the speed. So some LLMs, they do take more time because they bring you a better answer. But there is this parameter in place, and usually it's calculated in tokens per second. But yeah, always take it with this kind of third in the back. Would you like it to bring you the answer as soon as possible? And you see, actually, Windsurf is very quickly generating the thingy. Not always the correct one, but very quickly doing the job at least. And for some people to start quickly and to start reiterating, that is very important when they can start quickly. For some tasks, it's not the best choice. Another thing is this, I think you've heard about this metric, is the hallucination rate. It's how often LLM is hallucinating when summarizing the document. And there is actually a leaderboard in GitHub. You can go for it. You can check. You can know the hallucination rates for every known LLM. And this is a very important metric, so you kind of understand how they're compared. Every time someone is releasing a new LLM, they go and put it to this benchmark to see where they are. And also, quite often, there are separate benchmarks created for specific LLMs and benchmarked as well. Another thing is the context window size, and it's how much code is LLM processing at once. And this is very important because you have all your knowledge in your head you gathered for years, right? LLM just gets some context. The bigger you can put into this, artificial head, the better output you get. You can't put simply everything in the world. It won't fit, luckily, or maybe not luckily for now. But the more you can put, the better answer you get, because the better is the context, the better is the answer. And the third parameter here is the coding performance. It's actually how well the code model can handle coding tasks. And there are also quite a few benchmarks. So just naming a few, there is Human Eval Plus, which measures how LLM can solve Python coding problems specifically with a certain numbers of attempts. So it kind of has a few. Chatbot Arena is very important because it measures how LLM are rated based on the real user feedback. So that's how the people feel about the generated output, like not just like how quickly they generate something, but how people feel about the results. And also there is an IDOR's polyglot benchmark, which evaluates LLM, which writes and fixes code in multiple programming languages. And there are also specific benchmarks. So when we were, JetBrains is the creator of Kotlin, and when we were referring to these benchmarks, quite often they're focused on Python or JavaScript, the most popular languages in the world and the languages which are used quite often with Gen AI. But it's not really, it doesn't fit really to Kotlin, because Kotlin is a little bit different. So we actually created our own benchmark based on this Python JavaScript to measure specific things more relevant for Kotlin, and just benchmarking all the LLMs for Kotlin based on that. Yeah, and there are for every parameter, there are an obvious winner. This is quite an outdated data. It's beginning of March. That means the outdated in our world now. So this is the beginning of March data for measuring all the LLMs, at least the big ones, based on these parameters. But if we go back to this task of selecting the right LLM, there is not just about selecting this model. There are different things, especially when we talk about software development. So this is the very simple thing which gonna happen here. And this is called the full-line code completion in JetBrains tools. And it works fully with the local models. So we have models trained inside JetBrains on some, they are trained in-house on a data set of open source code with permissive licenses. And we simply train them for one specific task: generate a line of code which is next for you based on the context. So it's not trying to solve every problem in the world or generate C++ jokes for me. It's not. It's trained for one job and trained very well, and then packed and bundled into your IDE. You don't go to the World Wide Web. You just have it on board. So every time you have it enabled and you type, you get the next line. This is just the small Qt app where it's generating me the next line of code. This kind of a tap coding. So I just press tap and it generates me the line of code. And in detail, this single line suggestion is based on the context of the current file. And all the suggestions are formatted based on the code style you are using in the tool, and they go through the static analysis which the IDE runs on them. So it gets all the checks for you being done. And you can actually accept them by word or just accept the whole line. And for sure, having built this local model for one specific task in-house, we went for more. We created the thing called Melum. This is our own JetBrains LLM designed specifically for code completion. But it's not local, it's hosted in the Google Cloud. And that's where you can allow your IDE to go. And that's the primary LLM now for JetBrains AI Assistant in our tools. And again, it's not trying to solve every single problem in the world. It just goes for one. It's responsible for code completion in your tool. That's it. So it's just from local models to Melum, it was quite an essential move. So we just scaled that. It's again trained on everything open source and with a perceived license. It works not for every language for now. It's just Java, Kotlin, Python, Go, and PHP, and I guess also now C# and C++. But anyway, so power of Melum is that we train it for one specific task, giving it all the context, meaning the project index, all the formatting rules you are using, all the code styles rules you are using, and running code analysis on top. And Melum just knows how to do the code completion in your project, and that's it. So it's it's small and optimized for the specific tasks. It deeply integrated with IDE, and it reduced the latency, offered the suggestions instantly. And we have the measurements. So when we introduced Melum, so previously all the code completions were running with the some public LLM in background. It was for a long time just OpenAI, then others joined. And Melum, compared to them, brought some impressive results to us. So it the completion latency were reduced. The acceptance rate, 40%, is actually a very solid benchmark in the industry. It's a very high number. And the total number of completions shown also increased because the IDE behaves in the way that if it thinks that the output is bullshit, it's not going to show it to you, just not to bother you. And the cancel rate actually decreased. And the good thing about Melum is that we're going to open source it. So stay tuned. Somewhere in a month time frame, we're going to open source Melum for everyone. The next thing about selecting the right LLM, which I have to mention here, is RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. So how LLM works, in general, it's trained on some massive amount of data. But some data is just wrong. The World Wide Web is full of different stuff of different level. And some people are just wrong there. RAG fixes this issue for LLMs. It actually, the way to tell LLM that this is the right context, these are the right facts, use them, rely on them. And from that, build your reasoning. So, inside the IDE, we actually came to this kind of algorithm, how to use RAG in our tools. So we source the project index as to the LLM. So the LLM actually knows everything about your project because it already has the best thing built by the IDE is the project index. And you know what it reminds me? When we started doing the very long time ago, more than 20 years ago, when we started doing the project-wide refactorings, we were the first on the market who managed to do the refactoring on the whole project. So not just, renaming this variable in your very file, but renaming it across the project because we had the index. We had the AST, the syntax tree. And now we're sourcing that AST to LLM so that it also knows everything we know about your code. How good is that, right? And so we're sourcing this project index and also the information about the multiple project files, so maybe the frameworks we see you're using and you rely at. And we can do different kind of stuff. So we actually made it possible so that you can talk to, in chat, you can just talk and ask about some documentation maybe stuff. So how to do this thing in the IDE, how to find this setting. And it just using our official documentation via this retrieval augmented generation algorithm so that it's sourced as a key fact. So with everything else in the internet, it just knows that the true story is in our documentation. And the way we develop now actually transforms significantly. And I'm going to show you that. The timeline, I'm going to show you the steps, are actually brought to me by my colleague Anton Arhipov, who did this talk quite recently about harnessing the power of AI in IntelliJ IDEA. I'm going to reuse his timeline. Everything is officially on his website by the link. And I got his permission to use the timeline and redraw it a little bit and add some examples I love a little bit more. So talking about AI-assisted programming, we go from minimal assistance to maximum assistance, and we'll try to look at what is on this timeline, right? So the first one is no AI or minimal AI assistance, just maybe in completion. Like, I know what I'm doing, let me do it myself, right? And this is exactly what we saw here with this tap coding. So I kind of know what I'm doing. If you can help me with the next line, I'm fine, but please do not get into my coding. I don't want that. The next step is more verbose completions, which I could accept. So I know what I want, but maybe not how exactly. And let me run this for you. So I'm writing a comment here so that I'm going to calculate the number of odd numbers in the array. And I got actually this loop generated by AI for me. And it's like a multi-line code completion. happening there. And this comment is just like, I'm documenting my code. I'm going to do this in the next lines. And LLM uses this comment as a context. It's like, okay, you're going to do that, I will help you. And it will generates me a couple of lines of code. And I can accept them line by line or the overall part. I still have to validate it to see what is the results of like maybe the code analysis running on that and think about if that's the answer I like really, or maybe reject it. But anyway, the third step is in-editor code generation with minimalistic prompts. This is kind of similar to the previous step, but a little bit bigger. So like I know what I want to move faster and generate the code for me. I will just run this video. It's not really important to read from the screen. You can get the whole video by the link, and I would really recommend you doing that. If you want to be amazed by what are the current capabilities of LLM, do that, because Martin, our former developer advocate, he recorded this 15 minutes video, how to code a Unity game from scratch without typing any single letter of code on his own. He was just calling this action in the IDE like inline code generation and entering, just copy-pasting the prompt he has into this line. You can see it there. And then the IDE just starts generating you the code. It's colored with green. You can still go on the top. There is a small sign where you can actually update the prompt. So you can just accept it. The Martin will just accept it as it is. It's going to do that. But you can still adjust it. So you can just edit the prompt and regenerate it. And the whole 15 minutes video was actually like he was generating this game. And in the end, he just asked AI assistant to make the code a little bit nicer, and AI just refactored the code a little bit, and that was the game, ready to go. He shows that in the video, and it's really impressive. So no single line of code, so just these prompts in the IDE. There is another thing which is called the chat-assisted programming. Like I know what, I regularly know how, so please provide me the guidelines. And the case where I most often ask that when I need to do something with the CMake, because I'm always failing. So here I will ask the simple question to LLM, like how to build a desktop application with Qt 6, because all these problems usually with the variables or with the library on a Mac and all these x64 modes, whatever. So if you ever done that, you know where it goes. So it has all the things. So, and I just asked in the chat, and then I can use the input suggested to me in the chat and just immediately enter it on the place where I'm in the file. So this is this chat-assisted programming. And now there are more and more tools going to this fifth stage, which is the agentic programming. And this is the thing. This is what's going to change the world, and it's already changing. It's like when I have no idea how to do it, but I want to build it. This is this vibe coding. And one of the examples is this Windsurf thingy I was showing to you. Another one is Junie. That's the tool based on this agentic approach we built in JetBrains. It's now in AAP. There is a wait list available. We're going to quite soon release some of these things to the public. So let me have it here. So I have Junie here. And I just want to briefly show you, where is the mouse? Come on. Yeah, you will. So I actually sourced the task to Junie. I work in JetBrains, I know, but I know zero Kotlin. Sorry for that. I'm like a C++ type of person. But I wanted to write a game in Kotlin that runs in browser. So I asked Junie to create a web-based game in Kotlin, describe the game somehow. And the important stuff, what Junie is trying to do is that it suggests me a plan, so what it's going to do, and then go through this plan step by step. You see it in every iteration. Compared to like Windsurf, for example, it provides a more in-depth description of what exactly it was doing there, like in every file, in every command, and you see it's quite long. Many files were generated. I have some Kotlin code here. Then I decided, and that's important fact. So when I was playing with the Windsurf, I was mostly like, creating some small things from scratch. Junie is targeted more on like more professional developers who would like to continue working with the large code bases with the help of Juni and just automate the tasks. So Junior writes the code for the tasks for them and verifies it. And you can just go step by step. So here I have I asked Juni to add levels to the game. So I have the game, it works. I said, okay, let's add levels. I want to go through several levels there. But after that, I decided to go even more crazy. And after levels generation, I asked it actually to port it to the Android. I have a web-based game. It runs in browser. I said, okay, let's do a desktop game and an Android game, because I know that Kotlin is good for that. And it actually created all these Android modules for me and generated all that stuff. I still played with that game, so still doing some stuff here. But important thing about Juni is that we try to target that on a professional developers. So it has these steps of self-verifying, self-verification. So if you have tests or you generated the test with Juni, the next time you will be adding another task to your project, it will run the tests for you and make sure that they pass or fix them. It also follows the code style you have configured in our IDE. So it's not just generating you the code taken from some random part of the World Wide Web. It actually adapts it to your style and building this plan and going through that step by step. So Juni is in public preview. You can play around. It's only available for now for IntelliJ IDEA, PyCharm, WebStorm, and Golang as a plugin. So you can install the plugin, grab a license, and play with that. Now let's be back to our slides. Yep. So that was Juni, and now important and very interesting observation. If we take a look at the Stack Overflow, actually on the left is what developers are currently using with the help of GenAI, and on the right is what they're actually interested in. And you can kind of see that the plots are significantly different, right? So the people say that they do use GenAI for writing the code or for searching the answers, but what they really want to use GenAI for is for predictive analytics, for project planning, for all that kind of stuff. So this is probably the direction where we're going with GenAI now. So people getting more and more stuff writing with GenAI, but they're actually they want quite different things. They want more. And it's an important thing that you can see here that they 31% report that they want a project planning and some things related to planning. And I would like to discuss the planning here a little bit, because we also had very interesting research done by our research team. It's not public, but I'm gonna tease you some major results here. We're using that to create some new shiny stuff in the company. But it was very interesting research. We did several UX sessions with mid to senior C# developers specifically, so we were focused on quite a specific use case, just not to have a very broad research. So it was C# developers, and they were doing development specifically with Rider, with ASP.NET Core and Entity Framework, so quite a specific .NET use case, right? And we were interested in several things. So how they plan their implementation in C# when they are doing this, mental process. Which part of this planning we can use for the context to source to LLMs? And how actually they do this, we identify the code validation fixed loop. So how they do that, when they decide that it's time to validate, at which point. So yeah, we took typical mid-senior developers in C# with a certain stack of technologies, and we were observing how they plan and implement. So we were literally looking at the screen, recording them. And we identified opportunities for future AI tooling. And if we take a look at the mental model they were using, there were a few things which were important. So the every mental model they were based at were using three important things. First one is the execution sequence. That's the first thing they had in mind. The execution sequence is like a specific activity blocks, you can think about it that way, which are required for the task completion. They're usually influenced by the architecture. They're usually depending on the framework they're using, so they're quite specific to the tasks. And it's actually common for some specific scenarios. So say if you're integrating some external API or you're trying to modify something in the database. So all the steps are quite specific, but at the same time very similar for every scenario. And for AI opportunities, that means that this execution sequence could be converted into the checklist. And the checklist could be, again, specific to the use case and sourced to the LLM as the context. And the LLM could proactively suggest you to go through this checklist. And you can even maybe save your own checklist if you have a very specific case you go through every time. The second ingredient is the relational map. The relational map is the logical relationship between entities and application layers. And this kind of a mental model of the logical connections of everything in your project. And the developers were continuously validating everything they do with this relational map. You can think about it as like a solution architecture. And for sure, like you can integrate some planning tools, or you can even source some non-text data to LLM to follow this relational map and do the checks for you. And the last ingredient of this mental model was the project scope. It's obviously like where the project is modified, what are the project files, what are the coding conventions, and all these things. And this is like IDE is already automating part of that, helping you with the code styles, for example. But also that's the things we could also source to AI. And then we looked at the validation, so how the people do the validation and also see that they are right. So they're checking this relational map every time they code. And as I said, that could be an opportunity to source this information to AI so that it could actually checks on that, and AI Insights could checks on that and highlight where there are inconsistencies, because usually these things are done just mentally or with static analysis, if possible. Then the functionality, so literally that's when the business logic is implemented. The developers, if they're good enough, they're starting writing the tests or just trying to debug some and catch some runtime issues. And test automation done by AI and continuous running of the test and making sure that you have all these tests run. That's exactly what we implemented in Juni when we're having the task. We are running the tests for you. Juni does that just for you by default. And all these quick suggestions based on the test errors is just what the regular IDE does. And the project convention, again, so this is something the modern RDs are validating a lot, but also it could be sourced to LLM so that the code generated by the LLM is actually already following these suggestions. And that's what we also do in Juni in that sense. So we call it like AI-guided code validation fix developer iteration. That's where we're going. So that's where everyone in the development toolings are now trying to create some new stuff. And the last part I want to dedicate to this kind of big topic of era with AI. And I'm going to use a free quote from Andrei Karpathy, who's the co-founder of OpenAI and former AI leader at Tesla. And he kind of got quite a popular X account after a few posts. This one is coming from January 2023, and he said that the hottest new programming language is English. It's not like whatever new shiny stuff is there. We keep discussing the programming languages, but maybe it's just like English or substitute your native language, because LLMs now are capable of talking in many languages, not just in English. But the most popular probably term coming out of Andrei is this vibe coding. He posted in February 2025 this vibe coding and saying that this is this new kind of coding, which he calls vibe coding, where you fully give in to the vibes, embrace exponentials and forget that the code even exists. And in the vibe coding, the classical definition, you do not read what's there generated for you. You just go for it. Generate, ask the AI to fix the things or to add some new stuff, or to run it for you, as I was doing in the Windsurf. So I might just close all the files with code and not even look into them. Interestingly enough, Andre also noticed that, you know, what we're still doing, like 99% of the libraries still have docs that basically render to some pretty HTML static pages, assuming a human will click for them. But in 2025, the docs should be a single your project markdown file that is intended to go into the context window of an LLM. And I think that's true. That's what we should change, because we are locked in the formats intended for human interaction. LLM, they don't need that. All these web pages, nice PDF files, images, videos, just have a simple structured file and source it to LLM as a context. That's all you need. And I really, if you're interested in the term of the vibe coding, I really recommend you this episode of the Y Combinator podcast. It's called LightCon, and it's there by the link. And they're the founders of the Y Combinator. They are discussing different interesting stuff. And that one episode was specifically dedicated to the vibe coding. They were discussing that quite many researchers now report that 95% of the code is like generated now in the newly code bases. And they were discussing like where it all goes. And I will be mentioning Daisy again here, so I hope that she will get into this more maybe, but they were discussing the roles, how the roles in the development process are changing now. So some people, they are afraid that the AI will take their job, but we have to understand that there are people who are still very essential in this process. And these are product engineers who are capable of building the proper technical description of what is needed. So what are we going to build? What is there that we're going to get? Otherwise, AI will generate something for us as it understands the technical description, right? And also the system architects. And this is very important because, it's easy to go from 0 to 1 with AI. You saw the like Windsurf or like Juni generating cursor also doing that. But to go from 1 to 100 scaling, there is a crucial thing that you need to do. You need to have a proper, good architecture in place to be able to scale. Otherwise, you'll get a mess out of this with AI generation. So the role of the system architects who are capable of explaining the proper architecture from scratch, from the step 0, becomes very important. And, well, yes, some middle ground might be vanished. So sorry for that, but that's the truth. So there is no longer a requirement, there's no longer a need of the people who have just a good long experience of just coding without providing a good architecture or capable of, analyzing the code and understanding where is it good or bad. So these skills like understanding and having the taste, as these people at the Y Combinator podcast actually use the term, which I really love, is the taste for better good code. When they can take a look and maybe just say regenerate it all. That's fine. Do not go into like trying to review it and adapt it. Regenerate it all. But you need to have a taste to what is good or bad. You need to open that generated solution, look at the architecture and say, stop. We're not going to scale that to 100 because that's not going to scale. So this is an important skill. And the other skill is actually debugging, because debugging the AI-generated code is still a pain, even though there are still interesting researches of how to do debugging with the help of AI. But I will tell you an interesting story. When I was, many years ago, I was teaching kids at school. I was doing informatics classes. And I had a very bright mind in one of the classes. And every time I gave them some like coding, algorithmic mostly tasks, he was bringing me the solution. And if it didn't work, he threw it away and started from scratch. And I was furious. I was like, can you please debug it? Can you just go through it, find what's wrong and fix the issue? And he was like, but I'm quicker at just rewriting it from scratch. And that was true, and he had a good taste. So in a couple of iterations, he always got to the proper solution. So he always got it. He was one of the best students I ever got. But he was always rewriting that from scratch, never debugging it or trying to adjust it. And now I'm thinking, maybe that was me who was wrong. Because the people now, with all this Windsurf and Cursor stuff, they managed to get things right just rewriting it from scratch. It's much more faster now with LLM at some point of time, not always for sure, to throw everything away and to regenerate it. So where we are with our policies, go and debug it, read it, try to understand what's there, maybe it's just quicker to regenerate it. And getting back to this AI threat to your job, I still have to say that, yes, so it's not a threat to your job unless you have these capabilities, the skills of having a good taste and understanding the architecture and being capable of building this architecture. And yes, for sure, we're always reading the code more than writing, right? So that's the typical thing always said about the software development, even the pre-AI era. But the context explanation and summarization becomes actually critically important now. And you know what? That's exactly what AI can do the best, summarize the things. So it can actually help us with this most important thing. And we use it quite often and trying to start using in tooling as well. So one of the examples is the commit message generation with AI. So when you did all the job and then you tell your IDE, this is just a screenshot of the AI assistant from JetBrains, and we tell it AI, please generate the commit message for me. And it generates a pretty decent description of what I was doing there for a day long. But there are more things we can think. So we can take summarization actually to the next level. And I hope that will happen with the tools. At least we and JetBrains are exploring these directions with a great passion. Is imagine you open a huge code base and you immediately got a recap from AI telling you what is the architecture, what are the missing things like the unfinished to-dos or unfinished tasks, and you immediately start working based on this recap. Or you maybe open the huge code base for the first time ever, and you get a quick summarization, quick recap from AI, talking to you about what is the architecture inside, so that you can jump on your next task quicker, not spending the whole day trying to understand what is where. So before that, you were mostly relying on this, navigate actions or maybe some small summaries. Now you can maybe just ask AI. And also, when you update maybe the project from version control, you were on vacation for a week, you came back and your team did a great job. They generated lots of code. And you just ask AI for the recap, what was happening in this code base, so that, again, you can start quicker with what you have to do there. And yeah, you name it. There could be many things there on this way. And the summarization capabilities are really powerful from the AI side. A few funny things to end this talk is, first of all, this you might have heard, this discussion, is the bug reported to Cursor when the Cursor actually refused to generate the code. And that's the actual screenshot from Cursor, where the Cursor says that I cannot generate code for you as that would be completing your work. And with all blah, 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 this ensures you understand the system and can maintain it properly. So it's important that you do that, not I. Cursor developers agree that that's a bug, and they're going to address that. But that triggered lots of interesting discussions on Reddit and under the same, under this specific report on the Cursor forum, that yes, sometimes AI actually refuses to do the thing. And I also shared this kind of a story from my experience in several talks and chats that I was trying to generate some code which ideally has to use the algorithm in C++. And the AI was not generating the code using the algorithm for me. And in the end, I just asked AI, why are you not generating the code with algorithm for me? And the answer was that sometimes it's more beneficial to start with simple concepts and iterate gradually to learn more. I was like, okay, are you trying to teach me now? Or that's me teaching the LLM or the LLM teaching me now? Yeah, and with all that fun, let's hope that we get this video running now. And this is the ad created by the Alfa Romeo by their Israeli department. So it has these Hebrew captions, but it's in English. Let's see if we can run it.
Good morning, Eric.
Yes, good morning. Let's go.
What is your destination today, Eric?
Destination is work, just like every day. Go, start driving.
Would you prefer the standard way?
No, I prefer you take me through China.
China is 15,000 miles from here. Loading maps and alternative language.
终止船
No,
上
no, abort, abort.
Aborting trip to work. What is your destination today, Eric?
As I am begging you, just take me to work.
Engaging climate control system.
No, enough with the climate control. Just drive.
Sensing nerves level rising. Activating relaxation music.
No, I just want to.
It might be your last chance to drive. Alfa Romeo Giulia, עכשיו בישראל.
Yeah, so it's maybe our last chance to code in the way we got used to. So enjoy the coding now and think about how you're gonna do that tomorrow with AI. And if you wanna do and get better understanding of AI, come on Thursday to Daisy Talk and learn more about AI, and happy AI coding to everyone. That's it.